good. How's everybody doing today? I hope you all are doing very well. I'm your host, American Lumberjack, and this is TimberTalk, navigating the political forest. A little bit off on this week because I was having some wisdom tooth issues, but we are here today. Even on our deathbed, we will not cancel the show. So I'm thankful for you guys being here, as I am here as well. And we had a pretty good show for you today. We're going to start out nice and easy with a little story called Venezuela Postures. Now, the Trump administration ushered a major shift in America's fight on drugs. The United States has moved from, words to actual kinetic action against the cartels operatives linked to Venezuela. So if you know anything about Venezuela, the gangs in Venezuela don't play around. The premier gang is Tren de Agua. I think I said that correctly. And Trump and his administration has pretty much said enough's enough. So let me walk you through why this matters. On September 2nd, 2025, just a few days ago, the U.S. launched an airstrike on a vessel allegedly operated by Venezuela's Tren de Agua gang in the southern Caribbean. And they killed 11 individuals and sinking the little boat, per the Trump administration when they gave a press release. Now, on September 3rd, the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, I think they call him the War Secretary or Secretary of War now, or something like that. A little play on things because of this particular issue. But Pete Hegseth declared to Fox and friends that this is a deadly serious mission for the United States, and that the military efforts will continue, and anyone that is trafficking in those particular waters will come to know that there's no more games here. They're not playing any games with any narco terrorism at all, and that they will meet the same fate as these 11 people that lost their lives. Now, from my perspective, this is exactly what leadership looks like. Trump said that he was going to put a stranglehold on drugs entering the United States, and he is doing so. He isn't playing pity pat at all with this situation, and he's doing so in international waterways, but it's on, crime. They're outright treating the cartel networks as threats to national security, and as they should. So by leveraging his executive authority, he's targeting narco terrorists before they ever enter the United States, and he's safeguarding the U.S. borders by doing so. And a lot of people are upset about this. Why they're upset about this is absolutely positively beyond me personally, because how many of you have lost family members to drugs? Mother, brother, cousin, uncle, dad, sister, whatever. It transcends time, it transcends color, it transcends race, it transcends age, it transcends gender, it transcends all of that. So everyone in one way, shape, or form has had someone in their family affected by drugs. So why would you not want this to be the case? The administration use of narco-terrorism designation provides legal coverage for the military in their engagements, while critics will debate that legally under international law or the War Powers Resolution. The conservative view is that it's plain and simple. Cartels tied to terrorism shouldn't be allowed to do what they're doing, but the critics are saying that this is illegal action, and they're painting Trump as a warmonger. Drugs in your country, ending terrorism. Drugs in your country, ending terrorism. Drugs in your country, ending terrorism. Anyone that brings this crap into your country is terrorist. Because they're not working on the behalf of you or I or the nation. They're working on the behalf of their pockets and ending lives, because we know drugs in one way, shape, or form end lives. oh, it's not terrorism like you think it is. If they can take out 10 people, that's a terrorist action. If a domestic terrorist handed out drugs laced with fentanyl and 10 people died from it, you would call it an act of terrorism, correct? So why is this not the same? They have seized tons. The Coast Guard has been seizing tons of drugs, and it gets no light in the news that all of the drugs, and there were just articles this week, but they're overshadowed by everything else. Trump is dying, COVID, new strain of COVID vaccines, and all this other stuff. Don't give the old COVID vaccines. They're overshadowed by all of this nonsense that has nothing really to do with anything. And the Coast Guard is out there putting in work. They're saving people's lives. They're putting smugglers down. And your mama, your daddy, your grandmammy, your grandpappy, your aunt, uncle, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, brother, sister, all can be saved because of this. With the government making good on its, commitment to protect the American people with ammunition if needed, with this move, it's betterment for the United States. And I don't understand why people have such an issue with it. Now, while I do believe that this could potentially create a international issue between Venezuela and the United States, if the Venezuelan president, who later on after all this went down, marked it off as a fake thing that happened, like he literally said that this didn't happen. I guess to prevent from having to go to war, even though he did mobilize 4,000 militia fighters and warned the United States at the very beginning of this. Now he's over here reversing, back up, Terry, back up, Terry. He's backing up on it, saying that this was fake. How about you control the crap in your country and we won't have to do what we did? It was in international waters. Just because it was close to you doesn't make it your territory. So if you keep it out of our place, we will keep us out of your place. And international waters, it's a whole different animal, though. That's where the pirates go. You do things. So bravo to the United States at doing this the right way. Just make sure you don't start a war. Even though I don't think Venezuela would want that kind of smoke. I digress. But that's the only qualm I'll have with it. But the leftists, the liberals, the Democrats are crying. Oh, Trump he's being a bully, a dictator, a warmonger. Your family's still alive. Your cousin Lenny, the addict, won't be getting his fix anytime soon. So he might be able to get clean. Isn't that a benefit? Isn't that a pro? So Lenny can clean up his life? That would be my opinion on the subject matter. But I guess Lenny gets to die in your scenario. Poor Lenny. Poor Lenny. In other news, there is a federal law enforcement freeze. Federal L.E.O. on ice. So Trump is putting them on ice. So it is a bold strategic pivot, in my opinion. But hear me out. The Trump administration is pressing pause on most federal law enforcement training, except for immigration enforcement. The man is all about the enforcement of immigration. But this isn't a bureaucratic delay. It's a laser-focused prioritization overall on doing exactly what Trump said he wanted to do. On August 28, 2025, the Trump administration announced a temporary freeze, although it might last until like early to mid 2026, but it's temporary nonetheless, freeze on training at the federal government's primary law enforcement academies, unless trainees are tied to immigration enforcement. Now, I'll give my opinion at the end of this, but it's coming. All others, including agencies like TSA, the Park Services, and general federal law enforcement were put on hold. The administration goes on to defend this as necessary to align with the calls the president's making, saying immediate priorities to, protecting our border. Now, there is a strategic rationale to this. Think of it as channeling resources where they matter most for right now. The move underscores the administration's overall commitment to strengthening the border and the security at the border and streamlining ICE's mission and allocation. However, didn't I say my opinion was coming? I think it's because he pushed out this big $50,000 bonus to 10,000 people that wanted to join ICE, and they need the money. And since the money is already allocated for, law enforcement and stuff with the federal government, he can use those fundings by freezing the training on other agencies and putting it forth towards this particular agency. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, albeit temporary. Still not a good thing. So the broader context in this is comes amid the other sweeping federal workforce changes. And this is where you'll hear your opposition scream. You've been laying off of people. You've been freezing hiring, and the executive orders are chipping away at the union's power. First and foremost, federal government ain't supposed to have all the power it has in the first place. So what's the problem? Now, while I do have an issue with freezing in the way he's done it, because while it is good to clean up the border and make it safe and stop the illegals from coming in, stop the drugs from coming in, bravo, you did a good job, yay, huzzah, I do believe that some of those agencies do need to have training, because this is one of the leading causes for why we have the issues we have in our country already with policing and law enforcement, is the lack of training because of the lack of funding. Well, in some cases, they spend more time paying for lawsuits that are frivolous to protect their officers from people that are angry and disgruntled, and that money that they would use for training goes towards that. However, I don't believe that we should cut away any funding for training at all. For some, TSA, that's a tough one, but at the same time, patting me down and running me through a machine can be done by a machine. I don't think you need all those people, and some of those people are just about as competent as a third grader operating heavy machinery. But I digress on that. So I as I said, the critics suggest that this will weaken the institutional knowledge and readiness of our law enforcement, which might be true, but I'm at an impasse here. While I do believe their training should continue, I also believe that the federal government shouldn't have as much power and authority as it already does. And if this can save us taxpayer money, yay, but it's not. But at the same time, I do believe there should be border security and beefing that up, because that, in a lot of ways, would save us money. Because contrary to popular belief, the left says that, hey, the illegals and everybody, bring $96 billion net profit to the United States in taxes. Did you ever look at how much we pay in taxes for them? 52 billion, 151 or 52 billion, 151 to 152 billion, which is an offset of that 196 billion, right? That would mean it's a net negative. So getting these people out would be a positive to us, because it's less taxpayer money going towards it. So a slight breakdown of this is, and I'm going to give both sides to this, it's prioritization over policy dilution. The government is focused on enforcement goals rather than diluting training across every agency. That's okay. And it's no more bureaucratic waste, essentially, which is good. Training slowdowns for less essential functions means efficient use of taxpayers' dollars, like I was mentioning before. Operational clarity. Agencies know where priorities stand. Border protection comes first. And that, if you know the handy-dandy Constitution, you know that the job of the federal government is to protect the border above all else. Things that happen on the inside of the country are more each nation state's duty to take care of, not the federal government. The federal government only steps in at the behest, a state can't do it on their own. So at the behest of a state. Now, the other side, red flags. It reduced agencies' readiness is one of the other side's, observations. With new hires stalled, non-ICE agencies risk skill gaps and development delays. Departmental morale freezing training may erode morale and hinder employee recruitment and retention. I wrote this stuff out, and it kind of makes me sick that I had to write this part out because I had to think like one of them. I didn't really want to think like one of them because it's all emotions and feelings. And there's no logic or actual, facts to back this because this is the first time it's really ever been done in this particular way. They also look at it for legal scrutiny. Could this be the challenge as overreach of the executive power affecting training mandates? I gave my opinion, and I gave one side and the other. It is what it is. If we see fruit from this, good. If we don't see fruit from this, he'll get accosted and lambasted, and I will be right there, one of the first to do it, because it didn't show fruit. Maybe retool it if it doesn't show fruit, define fruit. But in my personal opinion right now, this does look like it's a good thing I'll say it like this. High risk, high reward. That's where this stands. And if there's a lot of risk and that outweighs the reward, then I'll talk about it. If it's successful, I'll talk about it. Either which way, it's, in my opinion, is good. If it's successful, it's good. So I'm here for it. I am very much here for it, as many of us should be. What I'm not here for is the judges. I'm so sick and tired of hearing judges. But the left got what they wanted. Kind of. They wanted more judges, right? More judges to push for the immigration. We need more judges at the border. Oh, well, you got them. The DOJ just wrote or rewrote the rules on who can sit as a judge in immigration court. Now, to give you a little bit of breakdown, immigration courts are administrative, which means that they aren't on the same par with what we do with courts as citizens. They're also courts that we will never be in. And as administrative courts, most judges are lawyers anyway, which isn't supposed to be a thing, but I digress. It is what it is. Now, any attorney can serve as a judge. That's what was going to be the case until Pete Hegseth said, nah, we can go ahead and get 600 military judges. Those are JAG judges, for those that don't understand, to come in and sit. And the left is up in arms about this. They are not happy. They are not happy at all. Frothing at the mouth, upset, frothing at the mouth more than I have been with this tooth, literally. They're upset. They're upset because these judges aren't appointed in the right way. And they warned that this could degrade the due process. Hey, if you could read, you would know that the due process that these illegals and immigrants that break the law get is a notice. Your left-leaning judge, Ketanji Brown Jackson, said that. Or did you forget about the Immigration Act of 2001? 9/11? Never forget? Did you forget? I didn't forget. It's okay if you forgot, but I'm reminding you now. Yeah, literally, it is something that is written into law that gives Article 2, which is the executive branch, the authority over the courts, and they're doing what you wanted. You wanted more judges. You're getting more judges. Oh, but they're not the judges that you want, right? You're getting more judges. Why are you complaining? Why? There's no argument to be had here. You're getting what you want, and you're complaining. There are 600 more judges. Isn't that what that one bill that was going to cost like $118.6 billion was going to do for us anyway? to give you like 600 more judges. It's like 800 million of that 118 billion dollars was actually going to the United States. The rest was going overseas. You know, I think they were going to beef up one country's borders, actually two, with that money, but not our own. We were just going to get some cameras and some judges and some lawyers and some more housing and stuff like that. You're getting your judges and you're still griping and complaining. It's just strange to me. You can't win with you guys because you're weird. You're weird and you're delusional. Trump is evil. We need more judges. All right, get more judges. Oh, those aren't the right judges. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You get what you want, and it's not what you want because you want to just let people in this country to continue to do things. And this is not a part of the show, but I just found out that this beautiful young girl from Maryland, and there's some fault to be had on her part, but we don't blame victims, right? Was on the side of the road and got picked up by this illegal who was found to be illegal driving while impaired or intoxicated back in 2018 and was found to be illegal at that point in time, but because of Maryland's law, he was let go. And he picked her up not too long ago, and people in the house was listening to them do things. Now, I don't have images prepared for this, but this girl, beautiful, beautiful black girl, beautiful. I mean, stunning. This illegal? No. He looked like Machete from Dusk Till Dawn, the dude with the like scar on his face. He's a famous actor. I don't know his real name, but he's a really good actor. He looked like him, but after his face has been ran through asphalt, like road rash. Dude was hideous. Picks her up, gets in the Yukon XL Denali, which, you know, those are the really expensive one, and they drive back to his place, and they begin to have relations. I don't think it was consensual because the people that were in the house said that it didn't sound consensual. Maybe because he was killing her while raping her, and then he took her body, nude, threw it in the car, drove, threw it over a bridge, and it landed on the bank of of the river where she was dead at, you know, and they found her. If this man was never in the country, we wouldn't have this problem. But no. Give us these judges that will let these people in to continue to do this to people. By the way, I'm pretty sure that girl was a Democrat or had been indoctrinated by the ideologies of a Democrat to be okay with these. Everybody needs a home, not here. Now she's gone, dead. And this douche noggle gets to get his day in court. Gets that due process that y'all want. I blame Democratic lawmakers. They're the problem. Not this girl. Not even this criminal. Democratic lawmakers, you're the problem. Because of your policies, these people get to keep coming in our country, and you want to have our border let more of them in. Nah, Trump's not having that. You get 600 military judges, and they're going to do what they do. It's going to be beautiful. It's almost like they won't get in at all. I mean, you come from somewhere in South America and cross like 13 countries to get here to escape persecution just to kill somebody. It's absolutely crazy to me. It's delusional. It's delusional. But this also, I believe, is delusional, but we'll get into that. Nearly 24 years after the terror attacks, a federal judge just refused to let the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia dodge a civil lawsuit. So back in 2016, they put in a law that allows families affected by 9/11 to sue to sue those that had parts in 9/11. So let's unpack this a little bit. On August 28, 2025, the U.S. District Judge George B. Daniels in New York denied Saudi Arabia's motion to dismiss a lawsuit that alleges the kingdom provide aid to 9/11 hijackers, or they did provide aid to 9/11 hijackers, and because of that involvement, that they have to pay out anyone that brings lawsuit against them. The evidence at, 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 at issue of the lawsuit centers on alleged involvement by the Saudi government affiliates Omar El Bayoumi, Bayoumi, and Fahad El Tamari, who are accused of aiding two Al Qaeda hijackers in California around 2000, is where this case is coming from. Why is it in New York? It's beyond me. I don't know, but we know that New York does whatever they want along with California. Essentially, this whole situation is stupid to me. It's why, if this country says that they have no dealings, are you allowing people in our country to sue their country or sue the kingdom up? It's stupid. It's stupid. New York is stupid. And I don't mean the people in the state. I mean the law enforcements in the state. They're not smart. They're not smart in the slightest at all. And it just makes no sense. At the end of the day, what can we do about it? What can we do about it at all? But our next story. Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, my apologies about that. That was quite important that I took that. We are back. That should never happen again, but I do apologize. Overall, accountability matters. I get it when it comes to this type of thing, but I don't know how or where New York gets off on, or even the federal government passing a law in 2016 that allows people to sue other nations, gets on with this. I get the rule of law, but no foreign power should evade scrutiny under American civil law. But at the same time, that should be nation suing nation, not individuals suing a nation. And that court shouldn't be held here in the United States, in my opinion. I find that to be, I find that to be absolutely, positively crazy overall. This case has gained some traction under the Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act. That's what it's called, JASTA, JASTA. But at the same time, this is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And in my opinion, I think this is a move against the Trump administration. And I'll explain to you why. It's a move against them for the simple fact that Saudi Arabia joined with the United States not too long ago doing a big deal of over $600 billion over the course of 10 years dedicated to the United States. And on top of that, they created a task force to help the United States fight against terrorism in the Middle East. So what are we doing? Why are we poking the bear? We get these deals going, and it seems like every time Trump gets a deal going with someone, some douchebag judge decides to step in and make some type of move to cause problems. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? This law should be removed from our federal government. JASTA needs to be repealed in every way, shape, and form, or let it sunset and not come back. And anybody that was affected by 9/11, let the federal government take care of it. And then the federal government can get funds from that country to pay out to these families, pay out the restitution to these families. Because having individuals go after a whole country is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. And it's not going to be good overall in our country at all. At all. Especially if we're making deals with the very countries that are allegedly on the take. But that's all I have to say about that. That in my opinion, is just stupid. However, this is not stupid. Who built the cages? Who built the cages, Joe? Obama built the cages. Obama built the cages. You know, they talk about kids being put in cages. That's kind of sort of what this is about. It's kind of sort of. But over the Memorial Weekend, it was proved that the law and order of this country matters. But only if the court lets it. The Trump administration attempted to fast-track deportation of unaccompanied minors back to Guatemala. Now, there's a caveat to that, so tune in and lock in with me on this right here. What went down over Labor Day weekend, the Trump administration prepared to deport 76 unaccompanied minors to Guatemala. And the children who were in U.S. shelters, that's where the cages comes in. Yeah, the cages. They were actually in shelters, though, not actual cages. But under the Obama and Biden administration and Trump's first administration, they were in cages. And they tried to pawn it off as something that Trump did. Nah, Obama built the cages, baby. He built the cages. So they they were loaded up into planes in Harline and El Paso, Texas. I think I said that. Or Harlingen, Texas. With the children packing their bags late at night, and often under terrifyingly abrupt circumstances, because you know the left has got to make it out to be something that it's not. And however, this district court judge, I don't even want to say this creature of the night's name, and I'm going to butcher the last name, but their name is Sparkle Leah Sooknanan. Sparkle Leah Sooknanan. Why are we allowing people? Now presiding over the court case, the Honorable Judge Sparkle. I'm walking out of the courtroom. I'm leaving. I can't take you seriously. That's like when Chad Johnson changed his name to Ocho Cinco. I can't take you seriously. However, this creature of the night intervened right on time. You know, these inferior court judges out here playing modern lawfare. Boy, they're just laying down cover fire left and right for these illegals. Anything to disrupt Trump's dealings, correct? They intervened, or she intervened with an emergency hearing ordered at 4:22 a.m. and halted all of those flights like that, citing illegal violations and potential danger to those minors. Now, I said there was a caveat to this, correct? The problem is the Trump administration had already talked to the Guatemalan president. And guess what? Ooh, it gets better. The parents of these children, these unaccompanied minors, want their kids back. And this Sooknanan, I'm not even going to say her weird first name, which I think is probably fake, decided to step in. No, federal law from 2008 is clear. Unaccompanied, non-Mexican or non-Canadian minors must be given a hearing before being deported. In what world do we allow a unaccompanied minor to have a court case of any kind, hearing or otherwise? Who is advocating for this child? The only way I've ever seen this done is if the parent advocates for them, or a family member advocates for them, or a guardian that is given guardianship over this person advocates for them. Shouldn't be someone from the state or the federal government advocating for a child. This is another retarded law. Retarded law. Non-Canadian, non-Mexicans must have a hearing before. What? The Guatemalan government and the U.S. government talked. The parents in Guatemala said that those are our children, and those children said that those are our parents, and the parents want their kids back. What hearing does there need to be? Sparkle shit? Who needs to give these children a hearing so they can go back to their parents? I wish somebody would. I wish somebody would tell me I can't get my child back. I wish somebody would tell me that I can't get my child back because they have to have a hearing first. I'd burn your country down. And that's definitely on God. I'd burn your country down with a smile on my face to get my child back. And you have these judges intervening to keep these kids from going back to their parents. How did they get here in the first place? How did they get here? They were unaccompanied. They just ran away from home. Guatemala, United States. Multiple countries in between. Guatemala, United States. How did they get here by themselves? Some of these kids are as young as 10 years old. Ain't even old enough to emancipate themselves by United States law. What are we doing? The due process is a problem. It is a problem. We need to clearly outline what it is so that the numb brains can understand, the simple monkey-minded nincompoops can understand without any recourse or argument of what it is. And we need to separate a clear dividing line of what due process of law for the United States citizens is versus due process of what an illegal or migrant is. We cleared up, make it simple, make it plain, so the stupid people stop making stupid decisions. And you get rid of these judges. Get rid of them. I know they're appointed. They need to be voted on, not appointed. Get rid of them. They're trash. Trash. Matter of fact, let us pick them. Let the people pick them. At least if we pick them and they're trash, we can blame the people and not the president. This crap is stupid. And I wouldn't blame if Guatemala just said, hey, look, if you don't give us our kids back, we're going to raise the tariffs on you. They pull a Trump or something just to get their kids back. It's their kids, man. What are you doing? This judge is absolutely, positively stupid. And it definitionally ignorant, definitionally foolish, definitionally dumb, slow, remedial, retarded. regressive. Man, you're playing with fire. 4:22 a.m. just to kidnap some children. For what? You into that weird stuff? Judge Sparkle shit? You into that weird stuff? You like playing with children? Because that's the only reason I can see why you wouldn't let those kids go back after two countries have agreed and discussed. What business do you have? You're not a legislator. You don't have the power as outlined by Article 1 or Article 3 to do this. I digress. I'm going to have a heart attack if I keep this up. Oh, God. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to save this other story for last. We're going to hit this story up right here. So I'm going to switch it up. So this, birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship. Are you a birthright citizen? So, Moncada v. Rubio strikes at the heart of the sovereignty and the constitutional principle of jus soli. By the way, that does not exist or show up in the Constitution at all. It is something made up by activist judges. Jus soli is of the land. The land is the land. We are the people of the land. We are not of the land. First and foremost, baby. Birthright citizenship. A man born in the United States of America for nearly 70 years, he's been here, only for the government to strip him of his claim based on diplomatic technicalities. Now, I know this case doesn't outright state what Trump's claim is with his L.E.O. that's on the books to be heard about birthright citizenship. It doesn't actually state the things, but it does carry a lot of implications. So let's break it down. So Roberto Moncada was born in New York City, July 1950, and his father was serving as a Nicaraguan mission, in a Nicaraguan mission to the UN. But the court says that puts Moncada's outside of the U.S. jurisdiction at birth. There goes that pretty word, that beautiful word, jurisdiction. So hold on. Where's it at? Give me a second. Where's it at? I got to find my Constitution. Got it right here. Let's bust this bad boy open, and we're going to, a little ashy. Let's go ahead and get over here to the 14th. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and I won't get into what the word persons, plural, is defined as, and subject to the jurisdiction, subject to the jurisdiction. Somebody drop a beat. Jurisdiction, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, comma, and subject to, and, comma, conjunction, connecting, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Subject to the jurisdiction of the United States because they're born or naturalized. Persons, not what we think. But we'll pretend like we're reading Webster's and not Black's, Bouvier's, or Ballantyne's Law Dictionary. We're reading Webster's dictionary. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the states wherein they reside. Residents, reside, residents, reside, citizen. Lowercase c, citizen. Nicaraguan mission to the UN, but the courts say that puts Moncada's outside of the jurisdiction of the United States at birth due to diplomatic immunity. Oh boy. The central question was his father considered an attaché. Ooh, that's such a beautiful French word. Attaché. Was his father considered an attaché or subject to the jurisdiction? That's what that in quotes means. Or a consul, which means immune to the Ninth Circuit. Or according to the Ninth Circuit. So was he an attaché or was he consul to this? Not counsel, C-O-N-S-U-L, consul. A lot of legalese in this. So get your legal dictionaries and start looking these words up. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals sided with the government, affirming that Moncada was not a birthright citizen. This man stayed here for 70 years, born in 1950, longer than 70 years. He's still here. And they took up cases in 2018 over this. And the only thing they were allowing him to do was renew his passport. He got to stay here for this long and renewed his passport and lived and worked, paid taxes as a U.S. citizen, but wasn't one. Subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. And they bring up Wong Kim Ark in this argument, which, again, Wong Kim Ark's situation was that they were a permanent legal resident, but not a citizen of the United States because they were subject to the jurisdiction thereof of the Emperor of China, but they were permanent legal residents, which is now known as a green card. This stuff is all written out. It's plain and simple. I in my personal belief that when they hear this EO for Trump for the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship, it's going to put things on its head. And if that doesn't go the way we want it to, then abortion is going to go the way we want it to, or both. But they're not going to be able to scapegoat one. And if they scapegoat one, the reason why I said both is because one leads to the other. Because you're going to have to say that the child at conception is subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's why they're not going to win the abortion one if they win the 14th Amendment one. But the way this case with Moncada v. Rubio goes, or went, kind of, sort of already, puts it in play, because the parents of the people that come to this country, whether the child is born here or not, the parents of those children are not subject to the jurisdiction thereof because they are not citizens of the United States. They are not citizens of the state in which they reside. They are illegal. So coming over here, knocked up, and pooping out a baby doesn't make that baby subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Because we're reading persons as Webster's definition of persons, living, breathing, human being, even though that's not according to Black's Law, Bouvier's Law, Ballantyne's Law Dictionary. But I said I wasn't going to get into that. This ruling could reshape sovereign immunity. It could reshape birthright citizenship. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely, positively heavenly. Heavenly. I cannot wait. Oh, my gosh. How this goes down. And I believe that the Supreme Court continues to rule how they're supposed to. Guess what? This ain't going to go the way you want. And the left is going to be in uproar. And then if this goes this way we want, then abortion will go the way we want it as well. Either way, it's a win-win. And if it goes the way we want it to, it'll be a win-win-win. Save the babies, kick out the illegals, no more games. Because no other country allows this crap. Just America. No other country doesn't understand how their laws on immigration and birth and citizenship goes except for the United States. We're full of a bunch of idiots. Fools. And a lot of them wear the title of judge. They wear the title of senator, congressman, or rather House and Senate, which equals the Congress, or legislator, or Supreme Court, or executive. A lot of these people wear these titles that don't know more know this thing right here than a man on the moon. I would say let's all write affidavits to make a test of this before they can even run for office. And if they can't pass that test the first time, they can't run for office. Got to wait till next time. And you got to pass it that time too. You pass it that time, you can run for office. That means that you have a clear understanding of this. And it needs to be comprehensive. I mean, comprehensive. I'm talking about from the right down to the basic lexicon of this right here. So when they get into the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Congress shall make no law prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Congress shall make no law abridging. They're going to need to be able to define abridging by law. Because abridging doesn't mean what you think it means. Abridging means shortening. That means that it's not that they can't stop you from speaking. They can't even cut you off. That would mean that when you put a gag order, like they did on Trump, and like they do a lot of people in court, a lot of black people at that, in court where they put actual gags in these criminals' mouths, illegal violation, court case dismissed, guy goes free. Because you just violated their constitutional rights. Gag orders illegal. They can't shorten your speech. They can't stop you from speaking. They can't tell you what you can and can't say. I don't care how sensitive the case is. They can't tell you who you can and can't talk to. But I digress. These people that are coming into office as legislators, executives who enforce the laws of the legislative, and judges who preside over the law of the executive need to know this better than me. And I ain't even a pro at it. They need to know this thing so well that they can quote it like scripture. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever, that John 3:16, they need to be able to quote it like that. We the people of the United States, they need to be able to quote it verbatim. I'm talking about to the letter. Why? Because why would I want a mechanic working on my car who don't know how to work on my car? I get my car back. I came in for a oil change, and now I got tires that go on a monster truck. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, it's just going to make it run better. No, put my tires back. It's going to make it run better. No, it's not. I came in for an oil change. Why'd you paint my car a different color? Oh, I think it looks better this way. This is what politicians do. This is why this crap is a problem. We need to set our house in order. If you set our house in order, we have less problems. But here's a story to shut it all down. I know I stay on the Catholics' necks. I know I stay on the Catholics' necks, and rightfully so. And if you're a Catholic and you're watching right now, if you're one of the 7 that are watching on YouTube, or one of the 2 or 3 that are watching on other platforms, I know it's off for me because it's on a Saturday. It's not my normal day. But if you're one of the ones watching and you're a Catholic, what is you doing, baby? Catholics go gay. As thousands of LGBT Catholics LGBTQ plus Catholics, can you be Christian and gay? No. If Catholics espouse to be Christians, the first, off that one singular verse out of Matthew, I digress. If you proclaim to be the first Christians, and Catholics are Christians, why you have a different title that separates you, it's beyond me. But how in the hell, how in all that is righteous and holy, how in the name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior, can you be gay and Christian? Now, I do believe you can accept the Lord as a gay person, as an idolater, as a liar, as a thief, as a criminal, as a murderer, as these things. I believe you can accept them as those things, but you cannot live as that thing for a prolonged period of time. Damn the notes. We're going to do this off the top of my head because I'm going to have fun with this. and I will dip into the notes a little bit to give you key information. But how? They have this pilgrimage set up for these people to come to Rome and do what they're doing. The tensions between compassion and conformity is what it really reveals. What has happened overall is the LGBT pilgrimage to Rome planned for the Holy Year has been encountered, it has encountered a significant pushback because apparently this happens all the time. It's been happening for a while. Even hostilities from largely anonymous online critics. The organizers, including the Tent of Jonathan, La Tenda de Gianata, emphasizes that the pilgrimage is a prayerful act, not a pride parade. They say that their aim is to stand as full-fledged members of the faith. How? This is a unholy faggot parade is what this is. Lord help me. How? Their itinerary includes passing through the Holy Door at St. Peter's Basilica, or whatever it's called, an evening prayer service, and a mass at the Jesuits' second Jesu Church in Rome. A bunch of pomp and circumstance. Circumstance with faggots. And I don't even care about being demonetized, whatever. I'm not even monetized. I don't care about this video being shot down for me saying these words. Screw you. I don't care. This is crazy. Christ said, go out and make disciples, not go out and make faggots. And I don't hate gay people. I don't. I love them with all my heart. But this is a mockery of my Savior and his word. The scripture says, be ye not conformed to this world, but transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you're renewing your mind, the way you are now won't be the way you are next week or next month or next year, because you're changing. And I recall the scripture saying, how can a man be born again? And Jesus explained that you're being born again of the Spirit, meaning that there's a separation. The Spirit comes, lives in you, but there's a separation. I was born this way. Well, be born again. If you're born again, you won't stay that way. And this goes for not just the LGBT. This goes for everybody. Your idolaters, your adulterers, your backbiters, your gossipers, your thieves, your liars, your murderers, your killers. It goes for all of them. All people bears God's imprint. Genesis 1:27 tells us that every person without expectation or exception is made in God's image. God explicitly gives us a layout of how to recreate in his image. A little breakdown. Hebrew language is numerical, it's pictographical, it's verbal, and it's alphabetical. It's four-dimensional language. It shows that mother is 41 and father is 3 and child is 44. 2 3s can't equal 44. 2 41s can't equal 44. 82 and 6 ain't it. It ain't it. We are called to be set apart, not join the parade. We're called to die to our flesh daily, not have pride parades. What are we doing? And I ain't trying to turn this into no sermon. I ain't no preacher by any means, stretch your imagination. I got my own sin that I deal with. But this is filth. And it would be one thing if it was all the professing Church of Christ, but it just seems to continuously be the Catholics. Hell, in America, the gays have created their own churches. They've created their own belief system. Universalism. Ah. Like I said, I love the gays. I love them. I want the best for them. I want them to come to the saving grace of Jesus Christ as I did. But we can't live by a spirit of delusion. From this vantage point, the church must navigate personal or pastoral, not personal, sorry, pastoral charity without doctrinal compromise. There's a difference between ministering to individuals with compassion and affirming behaviors deemed outside of Christ's teaching. And if you don't think Christ was in the Old Testament, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt with men. If Christ is the Word and the Word was in the beginning, Christ is all throughout the Word because he is the Word. And when he died, and he hung on the cross and died, he said, Eli, Eli, abathani, my God, why have thou forsaken me? That is Psalms 22. That's Old Testament, right? So Christ is in every book because he is the book, because he is the Logos. Logos is word, scriptures. You can't separate the two, man. You can't keep playing these games. Can't live for the world and profess the name of Christ. Otherwise, you end up like the world. Bad behavior corrupts good manners. And the Catholic Church is like the progenitor of bad behavior. I said what I said. I ain't gonna harp no more on it. I might even do a small segment or video on this. But the verse of the day today, the Lord is close unto them that are of broken heart, and saves such as of the broken spirit. Make sure you're not one of the ones who can't see the forest for the trees. Thank you for joining me today. Have a good day.